You're careful about what you eat and what products you use, and you want the same healthy life for your beloved pets. You've been searching the internet and social media for natural solutions to your pet's issues, and you're trying to find ways to prevent issues from cropping up in the first place. But everywhere you look, you find different answers, varied opinions, and you just end up more confused. Your pet is a part of your family. He deserves the best, and he deserves to live a long, healthy life. I'm here to tell you that it can be easy, that taking care of your pet naturally doesn't have to be a headache for you. I'm going to talk to you about everything natural wellness, including what to feed your pet, how to use herbs and essential oils, massage and hands-on techniques, meditation, communication, and energy healing. If it's natural, it's worth talking about. In this podcast, you'll learn everything you need to know about taking care of your pet naturally, for life. I'm Corine, and this is the Enlightened Animal Podcast. Hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Enlightened Animal Podcast. So this week, I want to get a bit personal. I want to talk a little bit about empathy, my change in direction, and kind of go a little bit deeper on that with you. So if you've been following me for any length of time, or even if you haven't, you may or may not know that I have done a lot of one-on-one work with clients and some courses, some group programs as well. But pretty much over the last, 15 years or so, I've primarily been working one-on-one. So working with clients, helping them either establish nutrition programs or nutritionally complete meals for their dogs, or working on helping them with holistic health with their dogs. I've also done energy work, Reiki and meditation, distance work with pet parents, and even animal communication sessions. And then I've also done things like courses on dog training, courses on nutrition, on meditation, on massage, on homeopathy, all sorts of anything holistic, basically. So I've kind of gone for a while just doing this type of individual work. And I was even in the process of creating a group program called Soul-Led Dog Parenting to dive more in depth in a group format with pet parents. And if you've seen recently, I kind of got rid of all that, and I started focusing on pet aura paintings, digital drawings, as well as readings of animal design, which is related to human design, but it's really specifically for your pets or for a pet-human connection, the connection between you and your pet and your pet's auras and energies, and doing those readings. And I wanted to kind of explain why all of a sudden all these other elements have disappeared. And so if you know me at all, you may know that I'm compassionate empath, and I love helping people, and I really love helping animals get better and be healthy and live long lives. That's wonderful, right? I mean, that's positive. And why would I not want to do that? Well, there's a downside to it. As a feeling empath that I am, the problem that I have is that I absorb other people's energies. And I would assume that some of you that are listening to this have this same issue. And so what happens is, when you're dealing with pets and with holistic health and energy healing and animal communication and nutrition and that sort of thing, usually, for the most part, it's changing, but for the most part, people arrive at this point when they've tried many other avenues for helping their pet get better. And so it usually means that there's something physically or emotionally or mentally going on with their pet, and or it could be towards the end of life, or they could have cancer, or usually it's something big, and they've tried everything else, and then they kind of start going down the holistic route or the alternative route, i.e. energy healing, animal communication, because they're at their wit's end and they're trying to find anything that will help at this point. And I'm that way too. And most of you are as well. You try the traditional things, and when it doesn't work, and it, again, it's changing. There are plenty of people now that are starting holistic instead of going down traditional medical route first, but it's still for the majority the other way around. And so what does that mean? That means these are people that are coming into my world with a heavy emotional baggage, with a lot of sadness or stress or despair, and, kind of reaching for straws and going, please help me, please help me. Well, I loved doing that, but at the same time, it took a huge emotional and physical toll on me, because as a feeling empath, I absorb all those feelings, all those emotions. And I found a way around it by doing things at like different times. So I would do like the animal communication without the person in front of me, or the energy healing without the person on a Zoom call with me, because I could get away with then allowing my emotions to bubble up and not, losing it in front of a client, and then kind of getting it together for like a call later on and trying to keep it together then. But afterwards, you have no idea the amount of times I have just been bawling my eyes out, or just so emotionally drained, because I'm focusing on an animal that I've never actually even met in person before. And, I even had it more recently where a client of mine's dog was really, really sick, and this was really her soul dog. And she was leaving me text or voice text, recordings on Messenger. And every time I listened to it, I would just break down crying. And I would get over it, and I would calm myself down. And then I would think about it a few hours later, and I'd start crying again. And that's not healthy. I've absorbed all her emotional energy into me, and it affects my daily life. It affects my dogs, who are looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I think that my energy looks really, dogs are very emotionally, or very attuned to our energies. And I can imagine how jumbled it must look, because it's not even my own energy. It's someone else's energy that's kind of stuck onto me or in me. And it got to a point where I started actually having physical symptoms and illnesses, and I got really sick and had to step back and sit with it for a while and try to understand what was going on in my body. And I came to the realization that, wow, this is a manifestation of everybody else's energies that are absorbed into me. And now you might say, oh no, well, you just didn't protect yourself, or you just didn't do a clearing beforehand. I did. I've cleared spaces. I understand about protecting your own aura and your own energy and that sort of thing. But I've got the type of personality or energetic traits that no matter what protection I put into place, and no matter how well I clear a space or I prepare myself energetically for being in that space with a client, I can't. I think that it's just part of my need to help so much that it just absorbs into me, and then I can't discharge it. And I'm sure some of you experience that and wonder, oh gosh, I'm not good at clearing my space, or I'm not good at protecting my energies. But I think that sometimes some of us are just wired differently, and no matter what we do, and even though we consciously are aware of what's happening, we can't prevent it from happening. And at a certain point, call it energetic burnout, if you will, you have to step back from that. And I realized that, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I am of a certain age, and I have to really start to, and maybe that's part of it as well. Maybe that as I get older, or as we as humans get older, it's physically harder and harder to not absorb others' energies. And so I just made the conscious decision that I had to find a different avenue for helping, for expressing my creativity, and in a way that is healthy for me as well as others. And part of what happened when I was ill and I kind of took a step back, I took a step back from social media. I didn't post on my blog. I didn't do any podcasts. I was just trying to heal. And what was kind of interesting is that I rediscovered my artistic side. So when I was little, I drew a lot. I drew everything, mainly animals, but animals and landscapes and sometimes people, but not so much. I was really always been more drawn to animals, but I would spend days, hours, all day long, just absorbed in my drawings. And I come from a family that has artists, creatives in it. And so, it's not unusual that that this was part of my design. Both of my children are very artistic as well, are both working in the arts. But what happened is, traumatic childhood, familial issues that I won't get into. It was kind of suppressed, and drawings were thrown away or kind of dismissed, and I kind of all the drawings that I had were thrown away, so I don't even have those anymore. And I got to a point where I felt like I was not a good artist, or this was something that wasn't desired, it was frowned upon, it was dismissed. And so I kind of buried it. And it's funny because when my children went into the art fields, both of them, I used to joke around and go, wow, it must have skipped a generation because I'm not creative at all. Kind of forgetting that I was when I was younger. But in my mind, oh no, it skipped a generation. They got this from their relatives, not from me. And while I was in my healing phase, and I think maybe this happens to a lot of people, things that are suppressed when you're a child and you need to get to a point where you're either in therapy or you're going through a healing crisis or whatever. It all came back to me, and all of a sudden I had this really strong desire to start drawing again. And once I did, it's just the joy and the passion just came out of me. And what was really fascinating about it is it wasn't just drawing animals. It's that I've always been able to see auras, but kind of, again, you dismiss it, or it's just, oh yeah, it's just something that everybody can see auras. But I realized that, this is something very energetic, and this is something very unique to each animal, and I can incorporate this into my art. And so I started doing aura paintings of animals, and I can go hours like I did when I was a child. My husband jokes around and says, oh, well, I know you've been drawing because I've been talking to you and you didn't hear anything I said, because I get so absorbed in it. And maybe that's my, again, that empath energy or whatever, but it's in a healthy way because I'm in joy of drawing this animal and looking at the photo and pulling out the animal's personality, and then pulling out the animal's aura, whether it's their personality or their mood while the photo was taken. It really depends. And I will talk more about auras in another podcast episode if that interests you. So keep your eyes open for that. But in this way, it's different because the person is sending me a photo in a joyful place. And there's a lot of love and joy attached to that image and the imagery and what they're wanting from it. And it's not in a place of sadness or, it could be if the animal's passed, but there's still a love and a joy around it. And it just comes with a different feel to it. And the same thing with my animal design readings. People that are interested in learning more about their animal's aura and energy and design, it's in order to have a deeper connection with them and to understand how to parent them better, or find out what the connection is that they have between the two of them and the life lessons. And so it comes from a place that is healthier for me. And I think then healthier for them as well, because then we're exchanging joy and love and passion as opposed to exchanging sadness and grief and stress. And I think that it's really important as humans for us to get to a place where whatever we're doing in life, whether it's, a traditional job or art or any kind of creative venture, is that we find something that brings us immense joy, but also leaves us in a healthy, whole, glowing state and not depleted, whether that's energetically or emotionally, something that where there's this constant flow of really high energy and high vibes. And I think that then radiates out into everything, into your environment, your house, your relationships, your health, as I am been witness of with myself. And so I think I just wanted to share this personal journey with you. Perhaps it resonates with something that you're going through as well. And if it does, please, reach out to me. I'd love to talk about that more. But hopefully you understand my transition into a different realm, still related to animals, still related to energy, and to lifting us up as pet parents and creating a better place, better environment, better homes for our pets, and sharing my joy and my love for animals with you in a slightly different format. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And please share this with others. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of my podcast. Who knows what I'll talk about? It's wide open. Or if you have a topic of discussion that you would love for me to talk about, again, reach out at enlightenedanimal.com. I have a contact page, or you can find me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. It's just Enlightened Animal on all 3 platforms. So would love to chat with you more in the future. So I hope you have a lovely day and give your pets a big hug for me. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you're the kind of person who likes to help others, then share this with your friends and family who have pets. If you have found value, they will too. If you have questions, I'm here to help. Email me questions at contact@enlightenedanimal.com, and I may use your question for a future podcast episode. If you want more, check out my website at www.enlightenedanimal.com. Finally, I have a personal request. Please leave a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, ideally a positive one, so we can reach more people and help more animals' lives. Thanks for listening.